name is Alan Chanter, born in Hammersmith in London. We had a pretty good upbringing. We were brought up in Ruislip in northwest London. Nice family home, obviously to a brother and a sister. I suppose classified as middle class sort of family at some, but we all worked. Parents both worked hard. We had a fairly good upbringing, like, you know. I was born in the late 60s and then brought up at there between sort of in the 70s, 80s. But it was a peaceful place, happy place, and fairly safe. You know, we did our own thing. We got out and about, no phones, so we were out and about, you know, messing around with our mates and that. So
active and
yeah, active, yeah, sporting, just getting out. I loved the sport there. That's what I enjoyed most about school. I got through it academically. I'm not particularly academic, but I thrived in the sort of sporting side of things, and that's sort of how I evolved.
Was it Corporal Punishment then, or not?
I mean, in the day, it wasn't like, you know, you see on the TV with the old public schools and that canings and things like that. Although there was the cane available still when I was at school, but usually it was rarely used. Like, it was more punishment through detention, you know, things like that. So the corporal punishment had more or less been wiped out by then, I think. Yeah.
You're a fireman. Can you tell us sort of the beginning, your journey there?
Yeah, so I joined the fire service back in 1985 in London, and obviously worked my way through the ranks there. I was a firefighter there for 17 and a half years, and then I transferred out to Galway in 2001. So, and I did another 16 years in the fire service in Galway City here as well. So I retired in 2018 and set up this business.
What brought you to Galway? How did you get to Galway from Ruislip?
It was really through a friend of mine who was a firefighter in London with. He came back here a few years before I came over here and settled, and sort of, I was going through a few changes in my life, and an opportunity opened to join the fire service out here. And I'd been out here a few times and met him. I like the city. I like the you know, the lifestyle out here, and I applied when there were some vacancies and managed to get a job in the fire service in the city here.
Nice one, lad. What was it like being, say, an Englishman, English accent in Ireland? What was it like for you?
I mean, it's always going to be different. You're always, I mean, it doesn't matter where you go, you're always going to get the bigotry to a point. It doesn't really affect me that. I mean, I was brought up in a very multicultural world in England anyway, so I can take or leave the bigotry side of it. But I didn't see much of it, to be honest. Never had to deal with much of it. You know, I think I treat everyone as I expect to be treated myself. If you're not a particularly nice person, I'll just leave you alone, right? You know what I mean, and walk away. It's as simple as.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Actually, has there been much of a change since when you first came to now in Galway?
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily for the better. I think it was a lovely, happy-go-lucky place. In the last few years, it seems to have dipped a little bit, especially in the city. You know, it's a little bit dirty, a little bit rougher, which is quite sad to see because it's a massive tourist city. You know, and it's not good to see certain declines in the area. You know, and I think a lot of people, especially people who lived here for years, have noticed that as well. You know, it's not the fun places it used to be in the town centre, especially.
Yeah,
you know.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Alan, passions and hobbies.
Had passions, hobbies. I mean, I love sport. Sport's always been my life and my saving grace. Played a lot of competitive soccer and rugby in England, and sort of carried that on the rugby side of it I carried on when I came to Ireland for a few years. Again, I always did bodybuilding as well when I was younger, and then the transition between the other sports, I stopped that for a while till I came to Ireland again, and then sort of once I retired from rugby and that, I went back into the bodybuilding world and in a competitive sort of format. So yeah, I mean, sport's my hobby. It's my life, really.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, you just tell us where we are. Like, what is this?
Okay, so when I knew I was retiring from the fire service, we had to retire quite young in the fire service. So I basically set up a sports supplement shop in town in 2016, where we sell basically proteins, pre-workouts, everything for the athlete's needs, really. So that's my sort of transition from the fire service into the civilian world, shall we say.
Yeah. Do you remember when you were at your truly happiest in life?
I mean, there's a couple of times, I suppose, when I had my two daughters who are still in the UK, and that was obviously a really happy time for me, and they still bring me a massive amount of joy now. Plus, I've got one grandson and another grandchild on the way. So, family's always been really important. The other side, I'm happy when I'm playing sport. You know, I love winning things. I love challenging, having challenges, and just competing, even at my ripe old age.
What would be your kind of proudest moment?
Again, probably the births of my daughters, really. On occasion, probably playing, competitive sport and winning titles and things in the UK. Winning the Irish Masters Championships in bodybuilding back in 2016-17 was probably the pinnacle of my bodybuilding career as well. So becoming a national champion at something was, to me, was a fantastic feeling.
Of course, that's massive.
Yeah.
Jesus. Do you have any regrets?
Ooh, regrets. I think, we can always have regrets. Life is full of regrets. I think there's nothing that I can really pick out at saying that one. It is what it is. Life. I think if you dwell on things, mistakes you've made, that'll take you down. But I think it's learning from those mistakes. And I've made mistakes, no question about it. I've made things that I'm not particularly proud of, but hopefully I've come out the other end as a better person.
If you could go back in time and give a younger you, smaller you, one piece of advice, what would that be?
I don't know. The advice I give to any sort of young person is just, be yourself, and have ambition, have drive, but have manners, with it. Treat people as you want to be treated yourself, with respect. And I don't think you can go far wrong in life if you can live on that sort of code.